Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jeremy Swenson Racing Channel. Today was supposed to be install the engine, torque tube, transmission, diff, subframes, all that stuff, but some parts we were waiting for did not show up. They were supposed to be overnighted for today. They didn't come, but there's plenty of work to do still. So I've got some friends over helping today. We've got, what are we doing? We're putting the ABS harness, getting that mostly situated. We need a couple extensions for that, and then we've got we're building some bracing to protect the tank, the dry sump tank, and the ABS module that we just installed. So I'll show you that to give you an update, and then we'll just keep updating you out throughout the day here as we get work done. So we've got some U-bends here that Sandbeck Race Development bent up for us, and I just welded in some plate, way too thick, but it's what I had, 1/4 inch, so that's some beefy stuff. And those are going to mount there to protect this tank from some certain people. And then we're doing the same thing on the other side. So we still have to get this fender off once we figure out what we're working with, but we got to make sure we protect that ABS pump and everything, lines and everything. So I'll keep updating you throughout the day. Alright, so Craig and John got this one painted up. That one's done. Other side's mounted. It's still a little hot and I gotta leave, so we'll paint this up tomorrow. But this one's all mounted up and welded down. We also fixed this little hole that we had back here. So that's fixed up. Still gotta finish up some wiring, and then we can carry on with some other stuff. So let's ask these guys some questions. This is John and Craig. They've been helping me a lot on that car over the years, and now this turd. John and Craig, how's Jeremy going to do this year in GLTC?
Going to be a challenge.
Honest opinion. Where do you think his average finishing position will be?
If he finishes.
If he finishes.
Towards the front, I'm sure.
Think so?
Yeah, it all depends on how the car's going to hold up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
it'll be an experiment, it looks like.
it should be pretty good. The car's, I mean, I went for reliability, and it doesn't make any horsepower, so that it should be able to run for 50 years at this power level. So reliability shouldn't be a problem, but I guess we'll see how the rest of the build went. So if you gave me a finishing position, what would it be? Average? Honestly. There's like 60 cars, or 40 to 60 cars, I think.
I'd say 5 to 10, top 10. Probably better at COTA than some of the other places.
Yeah, I think you're
Maybe
right.
on the track, and maybe later in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Once get everything else figured out.
I think you're right, because I'm nervous it's going to weigh too much to compete at some of these smaller tracks, but we'll find out. So anyways, thanks for your help, guys. Hello. It's a new day, and I'm working on, as usual, jumping around. So we're back to the ABS wiring right now. There's a few other things that you need. So you need 3 12-volt circuits. I think 2 are 20 amp, one's 5 amp. I need to double check that and I'll tell you. But the other big thing you need is a brake switch, basically, so that the system knows when you're hitting the brake. And that's just a ground. So you're completing a ground when you're off the brake. I need to double check this too. I'm pretty sure when you're off the brake, the ground is completed. So I'll be using a momentary switch, which we're going to talk about. And then when you're tapping the brake, the circuit is interrupted. Again, I need to double check this. So I went out and bought a momentary switch yesterday, and that's basically the same thing as like a start button or a horn button, where when you hit the button, it completes a circuit, and when you let go of the button, it's interrupted. And so I bought one. I didn't like it, so I decided to look underneath, and it turns out there's 2 already in the car, and they're not being used for anything. So I need to figure out what's what. So I pulled this plug out that was in one of them, and there was only 1/2 inch of wire left on there, but I spliced in, and I got a couple here long wires now. So we're going to plug this in and cross our fingers and hope that this does what we need it to do. So you're probably going to see some butt crack here. It's kind of my thing. I'll do my best not to. Okay, so let me think this through. Now I'm checking continuity, and I think I don't want to hear a beep here, right? Yeah. If it's like how I think it is. So now when I touch these together, I hopefully don't hear a beep. Shoot. Okay, because I have a rod here pressing the brake. So let me take that off and see if it's changed. So now we shouldn't hear one, although I think that's backwards of what I need. Shoot. All right, I need to go double check the instructions. Please hold. All right, there's no choice now. I have to go in, and I gotta go upside down. I may never come back out, so I guess I figured I might as well document this if this is the last time you see me. I love you all. Oh yeah. All right, send help. I'm in here though. So this is the other switch that was in there. You can see it's another momentary switch. This one has 4 wires. And I don't know what any of them do yet. Why would that not come out? I believe when you're not pushing the pedal, which means this is depressed, we're looking for a complete circuit. So let's compress it. And we're looking for a beep. We are not off to a good start here. Oh, there. Why is that working so terribly? What is happening? Did I jack the thread or? Okay, now when I let go, if those don't make a noise, we're in business. Sweet. These wires are still somewhat corroded, which is I think why we were getting inconsistent beepies. Beepy boys. Let's try this again though. Okay, so we are looking for the beep. Good. That was consistent. Now we don't want to beep. Okay. I think we've got a switch. So I'll extend some wires on here, and you guys have probably seen these advertised on YouTube or Facebook or something. These are those solder seal connectors. Never used them before. I just tried 2 of them. And a lot of people love them and some people hate them. But I think they're pretty slick. I'll do a couple here and let you be the judge. I can't say I have my technique down, but I'll try show you what I'm doing anyway. So you just slide the one end in, slide the other end in, they meet in the middle here. And that middle joint is solder. So they're overlapping, you just melt that solder. And someone hit this with a little butane torch here. And that solder's already melted on this side. There we go, you can see the solder spreading out. Now you just get the ends, that's just heat shrink stuff. and vice versa on the other side. Let that just cool for a little bit, and then I'll wrench on it. All right, we're listening for a beat. I need 5 more hands to do this. We have a beat. Now when I press this with my hip, it goes away. Should I show you what I'm doing? Here, let me show you what I'm doing. So I'm holding the wires, and I've got a bar on my hip attached to the brake. We got a winner. That's a relief. I don't want to be under there any more than I have to. I'm gonna have to hire Flexi Jeffy or teach my wife how to do some electrical here, because I do not fit in places like that.
The next day.
All right, it's a new day. Parts have arrived. Thanks to Danny, we've got ourselves the 45-degree fittings we needed. So they're installed, and I just double checked that we've got good clearance. So now we can toss the bell housing back on the engine and start preparing this puppy to go in the car. Woo! Guys, it's finally time to put this engine on the cradle and in the car. I'm pretty excited. Ooh, she's on the cradle. I do have a little counterweight there. The trans is sitting back there. I don't think, plus we're behind well behind the center of the front axle of the lift here. So, you can see how much more clearance you get with this dry sump pan. You got 4 inches. And a lot of people will put some kind of plate here to protect anything from getting into the bell housing, clutch area. But I like the cooling. It's just a big old scoop. So anyway, I put a new starter on too. Got the alternator off, so we should be able to sneak that in there. My buddy Ferris is sending me a steering rack someday. He promises. So, I don't know, it'd be nice to have it now. But there's lots of other work we can be doing, so I think I'll get this cherry picker out of the way and we can put the torque tube on. I left the cherry picker just to be a little extra cautious. It's not doing much, but just in case it's there. And look at me, I actually labeled bags so I can find the bolts. Brilliant. All right, I got the trans on. I didn't show you because I'm not very smart, but I just had to shorten, well, I didn't shorten it very much. It's still way too long, but this fitting, the guy had a straight fitting on here and then curved around, and the hose was bent, so I went and got a 90-degree fitting so that kind of sits a little bit nicer. We're going to start by not running a trans cooler. I don't think it'll be necessary for a 15-minute race, so but there is still a pump fitted on this one, so instead of just plugging holes, we just have to loop that line. So it'll flow, and if we want to add a trans cooler in the future, it will not be hard. I got my little motorcycle stand here holding this up, so I was able to use the trans jack effectively. So now we'll grab the diff, we'll slide that puppy on, and then we'll get the cradle. Alright, I got a new O-ring here for sealing these two together. Well, there you have it. That's the gist of a Corvette. Modern one. Somewhat modern one. I'm going to replace these axle seals before I put this up. Otherwise, and I've got the cradle just loosely set in here, so we can still move that around to align it. And we've got the fancy G-Speed mount back here. So once those, I'm going to pop these seals out. Once they arrive, I'll pop them in. And then we can marry these here things together. Exciting day. Alright, well, the seals haven't arrived yet, but we're going to put this thing together. It'll be easy to pop in later. Okay, well, that went pretty well, other than my sway bar bolts will apparently hit this fuel tank, so that's handy. Let me figure out, maybe they notched those things, I don't remember. Let me go look. Well, as you can see, we're in, and I'm having a hard time deciding what to do next. So I think I've got the little, whatever that piece is called in, with the million bolts, and I've got the headers on, and I think I'm going to try and get the X-pipe on and then see what I'm looking at for building an exhaust system, because that's one of the next things to do, I think. So let's go to that. Alright, I've got the X-pipe in place, and exhaust systems can be pretty fun to build, because at least in a race car, you can usually do whatever you want. Specifically this one, there's not going to be any mufflers. There's these catalytic converters right here. And a little X-pipe back here. This is a Billy Boat exhaust. I've never had their stuff. I've heard of them, but I sure hope this wasn't their work, because that is something. I mean, we got some serious boogers. So anyway, one of the reasons I won't be going to NCM is because I'm not running mufflers, and I'm not going to put mufflers on just to go run one event, and I want to run side pipes, and I've been kicked out of NCM before, and it's dumb. If it's a racetrack with race cars, why do we gotta not have race car sounds? And it upsets me. Obviously, you can tell. Anyway, so I'm gonna run this guy yonder out in this general area, and vice versa over here to there. And I haven't decided yet how I'm going to get there, because my angles don't exactly line up. I just bought a 2.5 inch stainless kit, I think from Modern Automotive Performance, out of Minnesota. Good guys. And I think my best bet is going to be this 90 somewhere, except I've already got a bit of an angle here. So, oh, I wasn't even showing you what I was doing. So I'm going to need to think about this for a little bit, and I'll get back to you once I've decided what I'm doing. All right. Well, I've decided to cut first and ask questions later. So that's kind of my style. No, I do kind of have a plan. One of my favorite things about race cars is you can do whatever you want. I think I just said that, but I've cut out a little notch here on both sides because that's where the exhaust is going to go. And it looks fine. So, and I think I'll be okay with, because we have bracing right here, and this is just a 2.5, maybe 3 foot section from the bracing. So I'm going to start without running any extra hangers back here. But if they're rattling around or really loose, then I'll have to add some. But anyway, I got my welder set up. Yes, I'm MIG welding because I'm not any good at TIG yet. I do have stainless wire in it, and I've got the 100% argon bottle hooked up. So for now, I'm just going to tack things in place, and then we'll double check fitment on everything before we start welding everything for good. So, all right, total change of plans. I decided to ditch the V-bands altogether, go upstream a little bit further, and I'm using these pipes have slip joints or whatever in them, so that helps me kind of get the angle I needed. I'm sure the professionals wouldn't do it this way, but I'm not a professional. So anyway, I just have that tacked in place. Now I'm going to cut my end here, and then I'll tack that on, and then we'll do the other side, and then we will see how it looks, and if it all looks good, I'll finish weld it. Well, they're not the most symmetrical thing in the world because, well, that driver's side pipe, you can tell, goes quite a bit higher after the X here. So they're not symmetrical to begin with, but they sure don't look that symmetrical now. But once you're up here, I mean, car will be on the ground, obviously. Let me show you that. Yep, that's it. Just a cute little thing down there. It's only 2.5 inch pipe. It's small stuff, but I should finish weld it tomorrow, assuming I have time. But looks kind of silly down there, but when there's a tire in there, it shouldn't be too bad. And I had to go quite a bit lower than I would have liked because I wasn't about to notch the frame. I've got maybe a 1/2 inch of clearance in there between the frame and the pipe. So there's one on that side. Hopefully with tires and wheels and a finished car, it looks good. I mean, it's not amazing by any stretch. It would have been cool to be able to run some kind of like those NASCAR road course exhaust things. I think those are sick, but can't really do that with this frame here. So I think it'll be fine. Just a slight slash cut on there, and now we can move on. Well, once I finish weld it, we can move on. But I really want to hear it. So if anything, that's good motivation to keep busting booty, because we've got a lot done, but there's so much left. So I think I'll end this episode here, and we will carry on tomorrow with a whole bunch of odds and ends. So thanks for watching. Smash buttons. Love you. Bye.